Hello, chismosas y chismosos, and welcome back to Bay Area Housewife of True Crime. We are at part 6 of the Alice Sin case. As a reminder, topics may be triggering. Viewer and listener discretion is very strongly advised. At trial for the murder of Alice Sin, the prosecutor asked, upon cross-examination, quote, "Do you love your son, Raymond Jr.?" She asked. "Yes, I do," Raymond replied. "Then why, in an email to Jessica Tang in 1998, did you write, 'There are times I could kill that kid'?" "I don't remember writing that email," he said. If it wasn't clear enough for the jury, Mary Knox pulled out Raymond's application he filled out when he was trying to get his IT job at the Kaiser in Walnut Creek in January of 2008. Mind you, this is right after he had served his 5 years in federal prison, his 5-year federal prison sentence for his child proclivities. Upon his release on parole, he was supposed to register as a sex offender for the rest of his life. The prosecution asked, where it asks if you have ever been convicted of a crime, you check no. That was a lie, correct? Yes, Raymond responded. And where it asked if you are required to register as a sex offender, you check no. That's a lie, correct? Correct, he said. This badass prosecutor also then handed him a printed log of his cell phone activity in the days prior to Alice's disappearance. She asked him if he recognized any of the phone numbers, to which he responded with a flat-out no. She then asked him about calls to a Nevada directory assistance for Reno area gun shops and a Reno Hilton, to which he responded that he did not recall making those calls. If you don't know what a directory assistance is, back in my day, as an elder millennial, I remember these directory assistance lines. Basically a number you could call. You would have to dial it and call before, we had the internet on our phones. The number would provide you to a call center that would answer your actual phone call with an actual live person who would help you get a phone number to whatever place you were searching for. This meant that this piece of miserable shit actually called directory assistance and got the phone numbers to the gun shops in the Reno area and the Reno Hotel. Remember, that's where Alice's body was found. Anyways, the prosecutor goes on to ask why his cell company indicated his phone was out of service after 2:16 p.m. on the day before Alice went missing, and between 1:56 p.m. and 8:37 p.m. on the day she went missing. To which Raymond responded with, quote, "I couldn't tell you," end quote. He also conveniently did not recall telling police 3 days after Alice went missing that he received a call from an unknown person or number demanding a ransom for her safe return. She asked, quote, "If you had received such a phone call, wouldn't you have regarded it as a significant development and therefore told authorities?" To which he responded with, quote, "This is back in 1999. I couldn't tell you what I have thought," end quote. At trial, it was also disclosed that witnesses were spotted Alice and Raymond arguing at a truck stop in Nevada, close to where her body was found, and that a, quote, second Asian woman sitting in Wong's car as Wong and Sin fought outside for a half an hour, end quote. The trial lasted a month. They say that justice deferred is justice denied, but I am glad justice was done for Alice, even if it took 15 years. On June of 2015, after just a day of deliberations, the jury came back with a guilty verdict. On June 26th of 2015, 44-year-old Raymond Wong was finally found guilty of first-degree murder in the death of Alice Sin. Finally, and thank all the fucking gods for that. When the verdict was delivered, Alice's family burst into both tears of joy, sadness, victory, and justice. In light of the long overdue and very much deserved guilty verdict, Alice's father, Mr. Wasson, told the Contra Costa Times, quote, "I raised my daughter for 18 years and he has her for 2 years and she's gone. He's an animal." After the 15 years it took for Alice to get justice, one of the lead investigators on the case, Matt Carmichael, who was now the chief police at UC Davis, said, quote, "I'm here in Lowe's crying. Today just confirms that our justice system does work. There's no questions as to who killed that young woman and her unborn child." Mr. Wasson greatly expressed his family's gratitude to the officers and everyone who worked on his daughter's case. He even recalled Officer Carmichael vowing to him in 1999 that they would catch the guy who did it. Mr. Wasson, quote, said, "He did it. He caught the bad guy." In October of 2015, Judge John Kennedy imposed 2 consecutive 25 years to life in prison, aka 50 years to life, to this piece of shit. The judge also took into consideration the firearm enhancement and said, quote, "The evidence was overwhelming of the defendant's guilt," end quote. And at his sentencing hearing, Raymond was teary-eyed with tissues in his hands and said, quote, "I don't know where to begin. I didn't do this. I had lots of girlfriends. Yes, I was a serial dater. There's no reason for me to kill Alice. For what reason?" End quote. Prosecutor Mary Knox said, quote, "Raymond Wong is a psychopath. He enjoys hurting people," end quote. By the time of the sentencing, 80-year-old Tony Serra, along with his co-counsel Brian Gregory, were not as fierce as they were during the trial. I think it had a lot to do with the fact that Raymond had filed a motion to dismiss, aka fire them as his lawyers. At the sentencing hearing, Raymond Jr. was present. He was now 16 years old. He was just 1 year old when his mom was taken away from him. Raymond Jr. now went by Billy. I always hated going by my biological father's last name because I did not grow up with him in my life. I did see him a couple of times. That's another whole other subject. So I get why Raymond Jr. does not want to go by his father's name. Instead, he goes by Billy. Billy declined to speak at the sentencing, and could you blame him? He was raised by his maternal grandparents, as they did a wonderful job raising Alice. They did a wonderful job raising Billy. The amount of emotional damage this family had to go through is quite literally indescribable. While serving his sentence at the R.J. Donovan Correctional Facility, Raymond appealed his multiple convictions. This real-life kukui alleged that the jurors were biased on the prosecution's evidence, and the court made an error while orchestrating jury selection. Thankfully, in March of 2018, the California Appeals Court upheld Raymond's convictions, and he is in prison where he belongs for the rest of his life. We've reached the end of today's episode over at Bay Area Housewife of True Crime. Thank you so much for coming down the rabbit hole where I currently live. Stay tuned for the next episode on the next case. Make sure to follow me on socials. As always, I accept and respect your opinions. I welcome all comments, case suggestions, etc. Call me, beat me at yayareahousewife@gmail.com. And yes, that's yay area with the Y, like E40 said. I'll see you chismosas y chismosos in the next. Bye.